Now that Trump has been elected into a second term, what are the chances that your citizenship will be taken away? This is a frequent question that I have been getting from panicked clients and viewers alike. After the election, a tweet from former Trump policy advisor Stephen Miller went viral, saying that they plan to turbocharge their denaturalization program in 2025. This has made a lot of immigrants understandably very nervous, especially if they already have their citizenship. So in this video, I am going to explain whether or not you should be worried that you may lose your citizenship underneath this plan. And as a bonus at the end of this video, I'll go over and recap the various reasons for denaturalizations under the last Trump presidency. So stay tuned. Okay, so what is this denaturalization program that everybody is so worried about? During the Obama administration, the Department of Homeland Security started a program called Operation Janice that was designed to utilize old fingerprints and biometric data from immigration files and match them against existing criminal records. The goal was to find immigrants who had been previously ordered deported, but were then able to somehow apply for citizenship because they had been able to change their names. Once President Obama left office and Trump took over, this denaturalization program was expanded further to include people with old removal orders that they never appeared for, people with discrepancies in their applications, and people with allegations of crimes that they had not yet been charged with at the time of naturalization. As a result of this program, the number of denaturalization cases went from 95 in 2017 to 1,600 in 2008. And in its 2019 budget request, ICE asked for $200 million to review the files of 700,000 U.S. citizens, implying that they intended to refer even more cases in the future. Then in February 2020, Trump's Justice Department announced the creation of a new denaturalization section that would investigate and litigate the denaturalization of terrorists, war criminals, sex offenders, and other fraudsters. In the announcement, they gave some examples of cases where they had already successfully pursued denaturalization, including an individual who recruited for Al-Qaeda, someone guilty of war crimes in Bosnia, a convicted pedophile, and a group of 4 individuals who claimed to be a family in order to gain admission to the U.S. through the diversity visa program. All other cases involved crime or fraud of some sort. One widely publicized case was that of Jinder Singh. In 1991, this 17-year-old Punjabi male arrived in California with no travel document, seeking asylum. When a translator asked for his name, he told him that his name was Denatur Singh. He was released to friends in New Jersey and then ordered to appear in court in January of 1992. When he did not show up on this day, the court issued a deportation order issued in absentia. Then, less than 1 month later, someone with the same set of fingerprints filed for asylum in the same New Jersey court, but under the name of Jinder Singh. The court found that the case had enough merit to proceed, and eventually not only was he approved, but he later became a citizen. Then, more than 25 years later, the government was able to match 2 sets of fingerprints underneath Operation Janice and realized that Singh had used a fraudulent identity in order to obtain citizenship. And in January of 2018, the government was officially able to revoke his citizenship. Again, this was a case that involved a high level of serious fraud. So when Stephen Miller says that he is going to turbocharge the denaturalization program in 2025, the type of cases that they are going to go after will focus more likely than not on this type of fraud. If you don't have anything like this in your past, then you should not have anything to worry about. And you should not be living in anxiety that you will be a target for denaturalization. But if you do have something like this in your past, there might be legal arguments that you might be able to make in order to defend yourself. However, not only will you want to hire a good immigration attorney to help you fight these sorts of charges, but you'll also need to hire a federal litigator as denaturalization cases occur in federal court. So, as I mentioned before, many people have been reaching out to us worried about this denaturalization program. Please understand that denaturalization is a seriously heavy burden for the government to prove, and most cases that you might think would fall underneath this category would not actually have grounds to stand. However, because I know that many of you will still be understandably very worried, let's take a look at some of those cases that I promised you we would talk about where the Trump administration did successfully prosecute and denaturalize folks. The Open Society Justice Initiative got files from courthouses around the country and reviewed 168 denaturalization cases that were filed between January 1st, 2017 and December 31st, 2018. Out of these cases, 37 and a half were Operation Janice cases, meaning that 37 and a half cases resulted just from match and fingerprint sets. 13.1% were due to prior criminal activity. 11.9% were due to fraudulent documents. 9.5% were due to sex and child-related claims. 7.7% were due to marriage fraud. 6.6% were due to terrorism-related activity. 5.4% were due to war activities. 4.8% were due to immigration issues, and 3.5% were unclear. While these were not all of the cases that were filed underneath the Trump administration, it is certainly a good representation of them. As mentioned, during this time, only about 1,600 cases were filed out of the millions of people who are naturalized. So you should have a pretty good sense and hopefully feel a little bit easier about what may be to come. You should not be worried that you would lose your citizenship over something as simple as an undisclosed traffic ticket, which is not a criminal activity. You should also not be worried about simple mistakes causing your denaturalization. It costs the government a lot of money, time, and effort in order to denaturalize someone. And the government will likely not make the effort unless there is actual fraud that they believe exists. To learn more about denaturalization, watch my other video, The Top 4 Ways That You Can Lose Your Citizenship. In it, I explain the most common ways that citizenship can be revoked, along with stories of real-life immigrants who were denaturalized. I'll include a link to that video. Click to watch next, and I'll see you there.